Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another Christmas junk journal with me. This is the last video that I'm doing for Christmas this year, so this is my last Christmas journaling or memory keeping video for the year, and I'm just finishing off all of my documenting for this Christmas. So in this video I have stuff from Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and also from Boxing Day. And so I'm first starting out with this little note or wish list that my son did on Christmas Eve. He decided that he wanted to do this on Christmas Eve and leave it out with the cookies and the milk for Santa. And I just thought that it was really cute little handwriting and little illustrations that he did to go along with his list. And it was quite a modest little list. There was only a few things he wanted, like a box of crayons and a notebook and a fishing rod, and I just thought it was really cute. This is the first year that he's been able to sit down and write sort of his own stuff without any help. He just finished his first year of school, so he just finished kindergarten, and so yeah, it's really cute to see all the little things that he writes and the notes that he writes. And so I wanted to save this one and put it in my journal. So I have two pieces of it, and I glued one along the bottom of the page and it folds out so you can read his list. And then the other part of it is a little bit repetitive. It's got the same few things from his list, but he's drawn pictures with it, which I thought was really cute. So I'm going to include that later. And then I have this big brown paper bag that I wanted to include. This came from something from Christmas, and so I wanted to use it on the page as well. And I thought that I would keep it nice and long and fold it over so that it can be just an extension of the page. And I thought that I would make the top half of it the pocket, so I thought about trimming it down and just having it page size, but I thought if I stitch along the middle of this bag, then the top part, the open part, will be the pocket, and then the bottom part will just be a page or where I can glue it down to the page. And then I thought to make it more sturdy because it's quite thin, I would put a flash card in that pocket part, and then that sort of just opens out and extends the page and gives me more room to put photos and stuff. On the other page I stapled the photo of the cookies and the milk, and that's to go with the note that was left, and you can see the note there in the photo. And all the time in this journaling, this Christmas journaling, I'm just using pattern papers that were scraps, so any scraps that I had left over, I'm just trying to use them up. I used a scrap of that plaid paper and I glued it over the edge of the page so that there was a bit of pattern underneath, and then I glued that brown paper bag right on top, and then you can see that it just opens out. It's a little bit flimsy, the top half of it, but I still like how that turns out. And I thought I could use this to hold photos from Christmas morning. So we spent Christmas morning at home, putting the presents from under our tree and having breakfast and everything, and then we went and saw our family later on in the day. So I'm trying to keep this part of the journaling a little bit more in order of when it happened. So starting out with the morning and then making our way through the day, and then using those last couple of pages for the Boxing Day stuff. So because I used that paper bag as a fold out, it gave me enough room to stick a photo of each of my children opening a gift. And so I really like how that turned out. And then I used the flash card inside to stick a couple of extra photos and do a little bit of journaling to go with that. I use these labels alongside each photo just to annotate each picture on its own individually as well. The flash card that I put inside obviously says family, which is perfect. I used that to put a photo of the tree and all the presents underneath the tree before anyone started opening anything. And then on the back of that I had one more photo of Rue cuddling a teddy bear, a little kitty cat teddy bear that she got for Christmas that she was so pleased about. So I had to include that photo because it was so cute. And then that flash card piece has 2 holes punched out as well, so I thought I may as well utilize that and thread through some red and white twine, and then I'll just tie that off in a bow to make it look more decorative and just, I guess, just adds extra texture and extra interest to the page. And then on the outside, or the back side of that paper bag flip out part, I wanted to decorate it a little bit more. So I put one of my linen printables from a Christmas pack along the top of that just to help decorate it. I really like how that fits there. And then on the opposite page, I had that little gap where I stuck a little journaling card piece, or a cut apart piece from an old Christmas paper pad from a couple of years ago. And here's where I'm adding that twine bow through those holes that are punched out. Then above my journal there, I have some pieces that I took off the empty advent calendar, the little chocolate advent calendar that my kids had. I thought I would use some of the pieces from that were a little bit cute, had something cute written on them or a cute illustration. So I took some of those off the packaging just to include on these pages. So there was one about decorating the Christmas tree. There was one that said one more day to go, so I put that on the Christmas Eve page. And then there's just some other ones that had cute little illustrations and stuff, so I just went through and stapled those across some of the pages wherever I felt like they fit. I always try and think of everything that I use or that we use in our lives in a way like, can I use this in my journal? Can I keep anything from this, or repurpose this into my journal so that it becomes a memory? It kind of helps to trigger a memory, and it just becomes something special later on. So right now it's just a piece from our advent calendar, but in many years to come, I think it's something that you look back on and it will be kind of cool to see, because everything changes so much. Like, all of the imagery and stuff that you see in shops even changes so much, and it just helps to trigger those memories, and it just makes it a little bit special. So moving on to the next page, this is some wrapping paper that I saved from Boxing Day. So on Boxing Day we have like an extended family gathering where we go and have like a picnic, and we eat Christmas lunch leftovers and go for a swim and stuff. And so I thought this paper was so pretty, so I stole as much of it as I could, and I'm using this as a background on this page. And I love it so much that I didn't really want to put too much on top of it. I did see what it looked like with photos and stuff on top, but I felt like it was kind of busy, and I really like the illustration itself, so I didn't really want to cover it up. I left that page almost bare. I think I added just one or two things on top, but I didn't want to cover it up, and I didn't feel like I needed to, because I did have plenty of space left for the last couple of things. I had one leftover tag from the gifts I gave to my family at Christmas, and so I just stapled one of those along the top of the page. And then the rest of the stuff that I'm putting with this wrapping paper is from Christmas, so the photos themselves are from Christmas Day. This image is another linen from one of my Christmas packs, and I just felt like that fit really well on that opposite page, that craft page, and just helped to decorate it a little bit more. And then I decided to put this photo of some of my family sitting down outside for Christmas lunch along the bottom of that page. I'm just flicking through the last couple of pages in the section just to see what I have left. This little 6x6 page I felt just wasn't Christmassy, and I didn't want to cover it up. I do like that paper, so I thought I'll use it for something else. And so to do that, I just tore it down. I had to leave some of it bound into the book so that the opposite side of it was fine to stay in the book, because I've already used the other side of it in the signature, if that makes sense. So I just trimmed it off. I just pulled it off. I didn't need all of those pages in the end. And like I said, I didn't really want to cover that up. I thought I may as well use that for something else. And then on the back side of this page, I wanted to decorate it as well. So I have this scrap of paper that I'm going to use. I used the other side of it because it's double-sided on an earlier page, and this time I thought I'd use the side with all those trees. It's not actually a Christmas paper pad, it's an animal paper pad, but it works really well for Christmas. So I wanted to use that on this page, and I just glued it down with lots of glue from my glue stick. And most of the time when I do this, I will also add some washi tape around the seams of that page or down the middle of the page, just to prevent it from peeling up and to make sure everything's stuck down really well and isn't going to get creased when you're turning the pages. And then I'm going to use those pages for these other last couple of photos I have from Christmas. I actually didn't end up taking many photos on Christmas Day because one of my sisters lives in New Zealand, and so we were FaceTiming her on my phone for, I think we were FaceTiming for like 4 hours, and my phone ended up going flat, and so I didn't get to take very many photos, just a couple beforehand, which I'm glad I got at least a couple of photos from Christmas, but I usually tend to take a lot more, but that's okay. I put some more photos of my family down. I used a scrap of that paper bag to make a little place to journal. Just added a little bit of tape above and below that photo. And then on the page beside that, again, it's not a Christmas paper, but it can work. I just wanted to make it a little bit more Christmassy. So I took this scrap of Christmas paper that I had, and I thought I would use that to back the photo of my daughter Rue, and so I just trimmed around that so that the photo of her would be elevated a little bit off that page, and just to add a little bit more of a Christmassy feel to that page. And then that little page, that little 6x6 page that I tore out before, I thought I would trim around the images on there so that it's not just a straight cut, and that just looks a little bit easier to look at. I feel like it looks a little bit less like I've just torn it out and more like it's supposed to be there. So I glued the photo of Rue on top of that Christmas paper, and it's just a very subtle little touch of Christmas. And then again, taking one of the linens from my Christmas pack. This one was printed on sticker paper, so I was able to just peel and stick that down below the photo of Rue, and I just thought that that would make a nice little journaling place. Then I've got the last couple of pages in this section, and I only have now the stuff from Boxing Day. So I have a little paper bag here with my name on it from one of the gifts that I got on Boxing Day, and I wanted to use that in the background of this page. I also have, I think I just have 2 photos, maybe 2 or 3 photos from Boxing Day as well, and I wanted to include those on this page. I'm just trying to fill in the blank spaces left on this page. So here I have another little scrap of Christmas patterned paper that I'm using to help fill in the page. So I glued that along the edge on the right, and then because there's a little gap in between, I just put some more washi tape down the side. And this tape isn't a Christmas tape, but I just thought that it could be, and it worked well for that sort of in between Christmas and the New Year times. So because it was Boxing Day, I wasn't going as full on with the Christmas sort of imagery. And then just taking those 2 photos from the picnic that we had, I stapled those in the corner and along the bottom of the page, and I just stapled them so that you could lift them up and have a look underneath. Not that there was too much there, just that paper bag, paper that had my name on it. And then to fill in the gap on the other side, I took another one of those linen printables that was printed on sticker paper and just stuck that along the top. And again, that just gives me more sort of writing space to journal straight on top of. And the last thing I have there is a little tag from a gift that my son did at preschool, so I stapled that along the page. And then I'm just working out what to do with the last couple of pages. So I have a photo here of Sugar, our little kitty cat, who was in the Christmas tree the day after Boxing Day. She climbed up and she was just sitting there purring in the tree, and her little face was poking out and she looked like a little ornament. So it was really cute, and I wanted to include that in my documenting. So I'm just backing that onto some more scraps of pattern paper, and I'm using the rest of that paper bag brown paper to glue across that white page just to make it look, I guess, to make it look a little bit more vintage, to take away some of that white space. And I like using that paper too because it's not too bulky, so it doesn't make it too thick. Then I also had that postcard piece that I wanted to include somewhere, and I thought I would put that on the opposite side just to write a little bit of journaling, sort of to round everything up and just summarize the whole sort of section, I guess. I didn't want to cover up all of that pretty flower paper, even though it wasn't Christmassy. I wanted just to add something to the page without covering the whole thing up. So I stitched that photo of sugar in the tree onto a scrap of paper, and then I'm gluing that straight down on top of that paper bag paper. And I thought about adding something else along the bottom of that page, like a little journaling card, this little season's greetings piece, and I liked the way that it fit there and the way that it looked there, but I wanted to leave myself some room to journal underneath that photo, so I ended up sticking this on the opposite side, just above that postcard image. I added just a little bit of washi tape to that page, and then there's only one more page at the back of the section, which is the last page to fill in. So what I thought I would do is use that very back page with the blue grid paper as a journaling page, and I would do a reflection of the year because we're coming to the end of the year now. And then on the page before that, I really liked the deer imagery on that paper as well, and because I didn't really have much left to put on there, I thought I'll just staple on this little index card and I'll use that to do just a little bit more journaling. So I ended up putting one of these little label pieces of paper along the top of that to write a title, and then I just ended up using that card to write about some of the thoughtful gifts that I received this year from my family. And then the last thing I'm doing is just going through with some of these label stickers. These were just label stickers that I made with a stamp set and some sticker paper, so just stamping and then cutting them out. And so I'm just flicking through and just adding them wherever I feel like I could, or wherever I needed space to write something. I put the leftover list piece from my son in the page pocket, and then I also had a piece from one of the gifts I got from my sister, and I tucked that in the calendar pocket. And then I'm just flicking through all the pages and adding in labels, like I said, wherever I felt like I needed to write either a heading or annotate something. And these are the last couple of pages, so you can see I went ahead and added my journaling off camera, so I just filled in any spaces that I left myself for journaling. And yeah, I really like how this whole thing turned out. I really like this idea of using a section in your journal and dedicating it to Christmas. Like I said before, if it's something that I do again, I'll probably try and plan ahead and make an actual signature in my journal that's Christmas themed. That way I don't have to add so many papers to make it feel Christmassy, and that will prevent it being so bulky. But I still really like how this turned out, and I hope you guys have enjoyed seeing my pages come together. I will see you in my next one. Bye!